All right, section 3.3, second video talking about increasing, decreasing, and constant functions. Now, be patient here when you write down your notes because the author is going to goof things up. Quick little story here. This was a great college algebra book until the author turned it into an algebra trig book for some unknown reason known to mankind. He decided to alter the definition, so it's now wrong. All right, so an increasing function. Do not write this down. There's a better definition, and I'll give it to you in a second. It is a function f is increasing on an open interval. That's the important word there. That's the word the author has taken out. He should not have taken it out because when you're going to calculus, it's still an open interval. Long story short, when an author is going to change a book to a new edition, by law, he has to change 10% of the material. Well, 9.8% was good. This 0.2% was bad. All right, so we're talking an open interval. That means in my interval notation, we're talking left and right parentheses, not brackets. He has chosen to go to brackets. That is wrong. So when you're in the homework, okay, I'm telling you up front, you're going to type the answer in wrong using brackets. If you forget and you put in parentheses, just go to Ask My Instructor and ask me to overwrite the problem stating you forgot. Okay. Now on the test, please put parentheses. And I'll kind of give you a little hint on these. I'll say, remember the special type of interval that we're looking for increasing, decreasing functions. But the concept here is that within this open interval, you choose x sub 1 and x sub 2, where x sub 1 is going to be smaller than x sub 2. If that happens, then f of x sub 1, which is the first y coordinate for x sub 1, that y coordinate, let's call it y sub 1, is going to be less than f of x sub 2. Let's call that y sub 2. So the y's are going to be smaller on the left, and they're going to get bigger on the right, which means they're increasing. Now, I know you can probably read this 2-3 times again and it still doesn't make sense. Here is the definition I want you to write down. This is the working definition. When you read a graph from left to right, as your x coordinates are increasing, the y coordinates are increasing. And you're going to see a pattern in this working definition and why they're called increasing, decreasing, and constant functions. To be a decreasing function, what has to change now? In red, again, don't write down the red definition. Everything stays the same. Holy cow, until we get to that inequality symbol right there. Now the y's change. Now they're not increasing. Now the y's are decreasing. So here's the working definition that you want to write down. As you read the graph from left to right, your x coordinates will be increasing. And as your x coordinates are increasing, notice now the y coordinates are going to be decreasing. Hence the name of the function. What happens to the y coordinate is the name of the function. So therefore, my constant function, I'm going to say the working definition is going to be everything's going to be the same. As x is increased, the y coordinate stays constant, stays the same, no change. All right, so red, blue, good. Working definition, reading a graph from left to right, as the x coordinates are increasing, the y coordinates are constant. They stay the same. In other words, what happens is you form a horizontal segment. All right, so let's practice looking at a graph. So find the intervals for where the graph of f of x, there's my f of x right next to my picture, is increasing, decreasing, or constant. So if I'm increasing, my working definition says read it from left to right. Remember, these should be all open intervals. And you only want the x coordinates, no y coordinates. So what I want to do is, where is my y's increasing? Well, as I look at my graph, reading it from left to right, my graph is going downhill. And then when I hit this turning point right here, now my graph is going uphill. That's what I want. That's where I'm increasing. Okay, I'm decreasing. Oop, now I'm constant, and I'm still decreasing. Y's are getting smaller, Y's are the same, Y's are getting smaller. So I only have one interval where it's increasing, and that's, don't go to the Y's. -4 to 6 is not the answer. You go to the X's. I'm on the open interval from -4 to -1. So again, you can write this as a compound inequality, no equal to lines. Here's your open interval with parentheses. Again, but make this note. This is what MyMathLab is going to want because the author goofed up. So if you don't want to get your answers wrong, put the brackets in for your answers. It's wrong. I have argued this many times, but the publisher keeps telling me they're going with what the author stated. And I even went to the previous edition in the book, sent it to the publisher, and said, look, this is when it was right. Then he makes an addition change and he makes it wrong. So we're just going to bear with this section here. Okay. Okay, where is my interval for where we're decreasing? Where were we going downhill again? From this point to that turning point. That turning point to this turning point. This turning point to that turning point. So my first one is from x, let me back up here, -6 to -4. That's the correct way to write it. I'm not going to put brackets on anymore. Again, put a little asterisk arrow. This is the way MML wants the answer. This is the way we want it on the test. My second decreasing section is very short, from -1 to 0, not the 4, that's a y coordinate, to the 0. And my third decreasing is from when x is 3 to where x is 6. Those are my 3 decreasing intervals right there. Constant. Whoops, I got an extra A in there, I believe. That's interesting. So scratch out that A. I didn't see that. All right, that's the horizontal segment from 0 to 3. There's where I'm constant. All right, that's our finding our increasing, decreasing, and constant intervals. Again, recap, x coordinates only. Don't worry, we're not going to leave out the y coordinates. We'll bring them back into play in the next video. X coordinates only, and always open intervals on the test. MyMathLab, put in the brackets so you can get them right.